Hi everyone, this is Krista with Art Graphics Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to upload, resize if necessary, and assemble my Art Graphics Studio Bendy cards. This bundle includes 4 different Bendy cards, so let's get started. If you have not already downloaded your SVG file, you can go to my Etsy shop by going to etsy.com and searching for Art Graphics Studio. Then scroll or search for the SVG you're looking for. If you are a Cricut Design Space user, you may be able to access my free designs. For more information, see my note at the end of this video. Sometimes, depending upon your system and/or your software, you may have to resize your uploaded design before you can make it. While I'm demonstrating this in Cricut Design Space, the same principles apply no matter what software you're using. So to get started, you'll need to upload your design files. Now, typically, in Cricut, this is going to be an SVG file. But there might be other files, PDFs or PNGs or JPEGs. So let's go to Upload, Upload Image, and Browse. Now we're going to go to where we know our files are, in this case, crafts and envelopes. Now today I'm going to show you on this 4.5 by 9.5 inch envelope. So I'll open that and open the SVG file. Now here's our file. So let's upload that. And here it is. Now let's just click on that. And you see this green border? That indicates that it's selected. So we want to add that to our canvas over on the lower right. Now here we have it. Let's make it a little smaller so we can see the whole thing. Now you can see it's all grouped. But before we ungroup it, we need to do one thing, and that is to resize it, or to see if we need to resize it. In this case, I said I wanted a 4.5 by 9.5 inch card. So I'm going to create a rectangle, unlock the edit, and change that to width of 9.5 and a height of 4.5. Oops, 9.5. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to move this size that I know to be the correct size into place. Up there. And as you can see, that's pretty close. So I think I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to get rid of that because I don't need it now. But let's say, for example, our envelope or whatever our project was came in at a different size. So here's the size we wanted. But as we can see, it's way too small. So we want to do now is to adjust the size of the project. In this case, it's an envelope. So I'm just going to grab the corner and I'm going to expand it until I get it about where I think it ought to be. Now I've gotten it a little too big, so I'm going to reduce that. And there, that's about what we need for it to be. So we don't need our rectangle anymore. And here we are, ready to start designating our score lines. So now we know it's the right size. Let's go ahead and ungroup it. Now we want to change our score lines into score lines because they come in as cut lines. And in order to do that, click on the area that you know to be your score lines. And the way you know these will be score lines is because this box right here turns red. So we want to change basic cut to score. Now you can see that we have our score lines. Now all you have to do is select both your score lines and your design and attach them. Now you're ready to make it. And when it comes up, you can see that your score lines and your design is all on your cutting board. Here is our 5x7 double layered Bendy card. This is the blank that comes in your SVG file. And I have decided to make mine a teacher thank you card. This is the back. This is the acetate that we'll put in the center, which is optional. And this is our little
feature card. Now we have two 5x9 pieces. One of them has score lines and a solid, and that will go on the back, and then the front is also a 5x9, but it has score lines and a hole cut in the front. I'm sorry. Then I have two 5x8s with holes. This will have score lines and a hole in the center. It will go here. And then this one is also a 5x8 with score lines and a hole in the center. Then I have one 5x7 with a hole in the center, but no score lines. All right, let's get started. Now these fold a little differently. These two will fold the same. This one doesn't have folds, and these two will fold the same. Now these two, we want to do just the opposite. We want to do our mountain fold first, and then our valley fold. Now on these two, we're going to put tape on all of them, but on these two, the tape will go here, here, and here. But on these two, the tape, you'll turn them over and the tape will go on the backs. Now we're going to put it together. Now, we have our piece of acetate, and you don't have to use acetate if you don't want to. The reason I'm using acetate is because I want this to be glued only to down the center, so it has a little movement. So you want to take your 5x7 unscored piece, and you want to attach your acetate to that. All right, now I'm going to put my greeting on, and I'm going to raise it up with some dimensionals. I'm going to put it right down the center. That way it'll float a little bit. All right. Now you want to take this second, this is the front, so you want to take this middle piece and you want to put it on here, flatten it out, and put it in the center and line it up. line it up there. Okay, now we're going to take our next piece and we're going to line this one up with the outside edges of the back part of this assembly. All right, now we're going to put the back on. So we're going to turn it over and we're going to put this on here. And then we're going to put this one on, make sure you got it right side up, and we're going to attach it to these sides. And then we're going to put the back on. Now here is our finished card. And here is our blank that's included in your SVG file. This is the Bendy card with the inside arch. And here is the blank that you will receive in your SVG file. I've chosen to do mine as a Christmas card. So let's get started. First, we'll fold along the score lines. And we're going to curve this a little bit just to get it started. And this one as well. Now, in my case, I have my decorative piece is a little off center because of the way it's made, the way it's printed. So when I glue this on, I want to be sure that I put that in the center there. Now I have added a little ornament and I have put it on with a little piece of gold thread. So the first thing I want to do is I want to attach this to here. And it doesn't really matter where you put it as long as you line it up. So I know that this is going to go here. So I want to put it about in the center there. So I will glue those down. And whether you put it high or low doesn't really matter. I'm going to put mine a little bit higher up. And I'm going to eyeball it. It's about 1.5 inches. And about 1.5 inches. Okay. Now when I put this on, I want to glue it about in the center, making sure that it doesn't show from the outside. So I'm going to put my glue here. And center it up. Then we want to attach our bottom panel and glue it in place. Now we want to put our panels on the back. Of course, you don't have to make back panels. You could just write your sentiments there. All right, here we have our finished product. And I have used some glossy accents, and I have heat embossed the saying there. And put a little glossy accents on the back. So here is our blank. It's included in your SVG file, and here is my version of the card. Here is the Bendy card with layered acetate, blank. And this is the blank that you'll receive in your SVG file. As you can see, it has several layers of acetate, and how many you choose to use is just up to you. In my case, I'm making a Halloween card, and I'm going to use 3 layers, 1 for each of these. I've included a back, and then these are the back panels. And I have a saying that'll go on the front of the acetate here. All right, let's get started. First thing we want to do is we will fold along our score lines. All right. Then we'll want to put our acetate on where we think we want to put these elements. Each of these will need to be scored 1/4 inch on each side. And you'll need to really burnish those down. I'm using 6mm acetate, but you can probably use whatever you have on hand. Now this is a 5x7 card, so check your acetate and make sure that your fold lines line up with where they need to be to cover the front. And here again, really gonna have to burnish down this acetate. Let's check that again. Yes, that's just about right. Okay, now we want to put that on last. We'll decide now where we want to put our elements. Now, of course, we've got this one on the background, so I'm going to place this one off to this side. And when you glue these down, or when you tape these down, the acetate down, you want to be sure that you straddle that center line so it will bend when you open it. So we're going to put that about right there. And I'm going to offset this a little bit, just as long as it straddles this line. All right. And then we will attach this to this piece of acetate. About right in here. All right, now we're going to decide where we want to put the other two pieces. Here again, they need to straddle. We don't want them to interfere with each other, so I'm going to put this one about right here. Now I'm just going to glue this one on, but make sure you don't encroach on the fold line. Now we're going to put on our cover acetate. Okay. Now we're going to line this up with this side. And with this side, make sure it's flat. Now we want to put our tag on the front here. And I am going to use the red tape to do that with. Seems like tape sticks better to the acetate than the glue does. right, here we go. Now let's just put the back on. And because I've used colored backs, I've also made a panel, a white panel, that you can write your sentiments on or whatever you'd like to do. So I'll do that and we'll be right back. So here is our finished card. And here's our blank that's included in your SVG file. Just use your imagination, let it run wild. This project is for the multi-level Bendy card. And here is the card blank that comes in your SVG file. I've decided to make a new baby card for my multi-level Bendy card. And here are the components. This is this back, this is for the back. These are the layers, and here are the adornments. Now on my card, because I have used so much of the print then cut, and the print then cut limitation size, I couldn't print directly onto these levels. So what I have done is I've created a white card that I will glue the panels to, and then I can put them together like that. All right, so let's get started. Now I've got them glued down, and you can see that I cut this a little short on each of those sides. That's just to facilitate the bend. You won't even notice that when you put it together. So the next thing you want to do is fold along the score lines. You want to fold back, and then forward, and then back again. This is what your fold should look like. All right, there we go. Now here is the front side of our back. So we want to glue or tape, just depends on what you prefer, our largest one to the back, our tallest one to the back. Now, what you might want to do is, since it's a bendy card, is you might want to go ahead and bend using your bone folder or whatever, and add a little curve. It'll tend to want to curve by itself, but it doesn't hurt to add a little bit of a curve. And then when we put this on, we're going to put it just like this. So you can run your tape or your glue, whichever you prefer in this case. And you can see I've curved these as well. So just take the next one and do the same thing. And then we'll take the last one and do the same thing along the bottom. All right, so this is our card. And one thing I do want to mention is the card is pretty thick. So if you intend to put this in the mail, then you'll probably need an oversized envelope to make sure it will fit. Now we want to start decorating. And I've included some firsts, and I've provided a place for the parent to write. And then I've had some extra ones. And how you put these on here, that's entirely up to you. Just decorate it however you'd like to, or maybe you want to use something different. I've also made some, I'm going to put this on the front, some little tags, and this is born, and a room for a date there. And then just some little pictures, some little decor. But I'm going to put these on first, and then see just how I want to space the rest of these. I'm going to put this on with a dimensional. And then we're going to just start putting these in however you'd like to see them. So I'll do that and then I'll be right back. All right. Here's how I have it decorated. Now all that's left to do is to put the back on, and you can write your sentiment. Now here is the finished product, and here is the blank that you receive in your SVG file. I think it turned out really cute.
If you're a Cricut Design Space user, you can access some of my shared projects by opening Cricut Design Space, and on the home screen, in the search bar, type Art Graphics Studio and press Enter. Then scroll down to Community Members and click on Art Graphics Studio. There you'll find all of my shared projects.